Hey, welcome back to Bible and Blues. And if you can't tell, it's Monday night. My hair's a bit of a mess. It's been a long day, and so the hat went on. I need a haircut. Um, but I wanted to do some entertainment, talk a little entertainment. Have you started watching the Netflix show Altered Carbon yet? Okay, Altered Carbon. It's a pretty cool show. I want to start off with that. The basic plot of it is set in the future, and the people I mean your consciousness is supposed to be getting downloaded onto these discs. Okay, and see if I can get a picture of them up for you. So these discs are where your consciousness is. So if you die, they can remove the disc, which is placed in the back of the neck. They can remove the disc and place it into a new body of some sort, and which we imagine what kind of an industry that turns into. That's probably pretty incredibly expensive and very profitable industry. So, and then but if the disc gets destroyed, you're done. You're gone. You're dead. Okay, you're dead forever. Okay, so the basic plot of it is a very, very wealthy man who, an aristocrat in the society, is murdered, and due to technological things, he doesn't know who murdered him. There's a whole concept of uploading and things like that he doesn't have the knowledge of who shot him. So what they do is they bring back our main character, and it's a guy named Kovacs. Okay, and they put him into a body. Okay, and his job is to solve the murder. So that's the basic plot of the movie, and so you die over and over again, and this wealthy person he's concerned that somebody's going to keep trying, and eventually they'll succeed and they'll actually get him. So I got to tell you right now, one thing about the show is they've gone basically HBO method on this. There's a lot of nudity in the show, a lot of swearing. This is not a show for your kids. This is not a show to watch with your church group. But there's. I'm not saying it's a bad show. I love the storyline of this show. The basics of it are great. I think they're really working hard to catch up with HBO and things like Westworld and Game of Thrones and the epicness of that, and trying to pull that audience in. I think they really did go a little overboard. It was actually on the verge of soft porn in some sections. So as a Christian, I care about that. I care about what goes into my head. I care about what goes into my family's head. And these things aren't always going to be good. These are not going to be necessarily good things for especially younger audiences to watch. Not necessarily great for us older ones either. So, got to put that out there. Special effects in this are very, very good, very well done. It's an epic landscape. Very much, it does feel like they pulled a lot from Blade Runner, and with the street level being very gritty, very neon, and very almost apocalyptic, but not quite. I mean, but the cities, at the ground level, at the human level is very tough area. You get above that, and as you go higher, you get more, to more wealthy and wealthy areas, to the point where the person in charge of this whole thing, what's his name? Lauren Bancroft, and his place is actually above the clouds and completely, clean air, and everything's beautiful and everything. So it is a very visually stunning show to watch. Sometimes a little overdone even to a certain level of the technological aspect of it. So so it's a very good show. I'm enjoying it. There is the caveat of there's a lot of nudity. There's a fair amount of cussing and swearing in it. Let's get to the show itself. And I actually have IMDb over here on this screen, so I'm pulling up. Our main character, Takeshi, I didn't really catch the name of that well. Kovacs is played by Joel Kinnaman. He does a very good job of it. It's kind of funny. He in the show, he started out, he was an Asian guy, Japanese, I think, and half Japanese, as I recall. And he he gets sleeved into a white guy, and deliberately with a person who is has combat ready reactions and trained body, and so somebody swings at you, his body's going to react just as quickly as his old trained body was. Now, this particular person, Kovacs, was what they called an envoy. He's been in a prison, essentially. His consciousness has been in a prison for 250 years, and he's being pulled out for this reason. What he was before all of this happened, and mind you, I'm only 3 episodes into this show, so there's more I don't know. But what has happened was a lot of the people, as this came about, were protesting. You can imagine what this is. And as a person of faith, I can totally understand it. If you think about it, if you could download your consciousness into a computer, here's the question I have for you. Would this be a copy and paste or a cut and paste? Okay, is a cut and paste, are you actually removing your consciousness from the brain and putting it into your computer, or is it just a copy? Okay, and so that's the question. Are these sleeves, these discs with a consciousness, okay, in it, as you pull it out, is it just a copy and the actual consciousness is gone? Is the actual soul gone now? And these are the questions of faith that a show like this actually asks. It makes me bring up. The idea of living forever is one thing. Having your consciousness continue on forever and ever and ever and ever, it sounds really cool. Except for, is that you? Or are you just downloading a copy? Is it just a disc? I mean, you think about it. We have disk drives, and we can take a CD, and we can drop it into a disk drive and make it and put it onto the computer. Okay, but the program's still on the disk drive, on the disk. I can go to another computer and put it onto that one, as long as I have the key code to do it, and again and again and again. And so that's the question I would have. I would be questioning that very strongly. And so, what about the soul? Well, and so one of the things that happens during this, I want to talk a lot about this as a person of faith, because this is something that kind of touches on some, because they call them New Catholics, and there's I don't know why they call them New Catholics. I'm not sure, but they're able to make a choice. They're able to make the choice to say, I don't want this to happen. Okay, I don't want to be put into another body. Once I'm dead, I'm dead. I'm done. My soul has a place to go, not onto a disc, and not into, they call it sleeve, another body. It's just like putting a sleeve onto, and it's like, and I think they use a term like that. It would probably be a term just to make it sound like it's just like putting on another piece of clothing, and it's still you. It's like, I'm going to put on this sleeve, put my arm into this sleeve, and my arm is still my arm. So there's a big nihilism that forms out of this, and an attitude of I'm immortal. I can continue on forever and ever. And the upper level, the upper echelon, who have the ability to have the best, and they have these great bodies to go from body to body to body, have obviously the best. And you can imagine if you had somebody like J.D. Rockefeller. Imagine if he hadn't died and he continued to grow his wealth for 100, 150, 200 years. What kind of a person would that produce? What kind of a family would that produce? We have a limited amount of time, and we have to get our stuff done in a certain amount of time. And I think that's probably a good thing. I think that we are such a fallen people. We are so damaged. I mean, I think this is very important. Now, initially, when you first see anybody of faith, it's actually people out protesting, and they have white face paint with death mask kind of look onto them, with looking like a skull kind of thing, and and that's what you see at first. As for the people of faith in this show, and my initial reaction was, oh well, here we go again. I mean, anybody of faith in the show is going to be a crazy, right? But later on they dig deeper, a little bit deeper into it, and I'm actually kind of looking forward to how deep do they go with it, because one of the characters is a police officer, and her name is Kristen Ortega. She's played by Martha Higareda, Higareda. I guess I'm not enough starstruck to really know, but she's was raised in a Catholic, in a religious format, and we see her at one point in time having dinner with, eating with her mother, and her mom is incredibly upset that she has foregone her faith because she has coded herself to be able to be re-sleeved if something happens. Well, and in a way, you kind of think about it, because she lost her father, and so she has experienced the loss of somebody that she loved, and not many people actually experience that now. Nowadays, in this particular show, somebody dies and they'll be re-sleeved. Now, here's the thing about something important to remember is that if you are wealthy, you get to buy a clone body, or have bodies machined up, or things like that. It's a whole industry involved in this, grown and then stabilized, so you can be in the same body over and over again, or improvements, or all kinds of neat stuff, right? Stronger, faster, better. We can make them better. So that is one of the things that can be done. But the people who aren't wealthy, the people who don't have any money, they still seem to have a right to be re-sleeved into another body, to have their disc placed someplace else. There seems to have been given a human right for somehow. But if you can't afford a good one, okay, you're going to get what you get, and it's going to be a cast-off or a leftover or something. As an example, in the very beginning of it, in the first episode, there is somebody who is into a middle-aged lady, and when they come out, it turns out this middle-aged lady, was a 7-year-old girl, and so here she was, a 7-year-old girl, and now she's in a grown woman's body, thoroughly confused, completely confused. Yeah, there's a humanity issue there. So I don't know. I mean, would you, as a person of faith or not of faith? I mean, because I know there's atheists that watch my channel. How would you feel about this? Again, here's the question: is that still you being moved from body to body to body? Is that still you, or is it just so much software re-downloaded into a new person? You know what I'm saying? So how would you feel about that? Is this something that you would do as a person of faith, or a person of not a person of faith? And would you condone this? Would this be something you would encourage your family to do? I mean, if you think about it, you could continue to talk to your family for decades, hundreds of years, if not. Imagine being in love with your wife and her never dying, actually, and being able to celebrate 100 years of marriage, 200 years of marriage. Okay, it would be incredible. It really would. I can see the draw to it. But at the same time, there is an order to our lifespans. There is an order to our souls. As we're born, God gives us our soul, puts our soul in as the essence of us. We grow into it, and we become who we are, partially through that, partially through experiences in our life, partially through outside interactions. And then, at some point in time, based upon this being a fallen world, and we are fallen people, we will die. And once we do, our soul rejoins Christ in heaven. That's my faith, and I believe it's right. So, is that to me? That's the natural order of things at this point in time. They'll come, and then So, my question to you is: would this be something you'd be interested in? Is this something you would like to do? I mean, if you think about all the repercussions, the ramifications, some would be good, some would be bad. Somebody killed you and they took your sleeve out and they put it into somebody else, into another body. You could finger the person who killed you. So on the other hand, would it be you? That's a big question. And so I have that question to ask, and could you answer it? So that's Altered Carbon. I'm about 3 episodes into it. This is just the first season. How many episodes are there, people? It looks like total there's about what I'm up to 3, 4, 5, 6, so about 10 episodes into it for season 1. Yep, and I'm enjoying it. I do intend to watch the rest of it. But tell me, is it something you're interested in? Again, fair warning. This is not a show for somebody who's really prudish and does not want to see any nudity. This is not going to be your show. But get past that aspect. It is a great show. I'm really enjoying it. So anyway, God bless you. All have a good one, and I will talk at you later.